Okay, welcome back everyone. Today I'd like to talk a bit about one of the segments that I'm very passionate about, the miracle of our body. If you remember, in relationship to my method, we discussed our tree. As I mentioned, my method is based on the root system and our regeneration. Regeneration, down to our smallest tissues, always begins with our parents and our roots. It is essential to find our place within our family system. As I stated, parents represent the trunk of the tree. For me, as a coach, it is extremely important to respect and honor my parents, as only in this way can I release my perspective on life. This applies not only in general, but also to specific situations, such as my relationship with money, success in life, authority, and relationships with partners. All these aspects have their roots in how I behave internally towards my parents. If I do not respect my parents, or if I feel superior to them, this affects the entire trunk in my therapeutic view. Moving on, as I mentioned, these branches represent our body as they are deeply interconnected with everything we have inherited. In this wonderful tree, the roots and branches are one and the same entity, as if they were made from the same dough. It's fascinating. This is the aspect I wanted to discuss today in the regeneration method. Let's move on to this topic. Now, let's return to the third law of systems, which I owe you an explanation for. So, what were the first two? The first law was belonging. Everyone has the right to belong. The second law was order. There is an order of things. Those who came before are greater. And the third law refers to the balance between giving and receiving. What does this mean? It means that any relationship on earth needs to be equitable to last. This is a belief I have observed in many cases I have worked with and also learned from my teachers. When the exchange is not equitable, the relationship transforms into something else. For example, yesterday I had a client who was giving a lot in her relationships. She had a tendency to put herself last. As women, we have generally been educated to put men and children before ourselves, as we have lived in a patriarchal society and are somehow programmed to be this way. Women are capable of deep, unconditional love and are highly elevated spiritually. I know that women are responsible for baking what they receive from men, starting with the child, which is that small fruit we bake in our oven. In many couple relationships, women tend to give a lot and put themselves last. It's important to realize that while giving and kindness are extraordinary, we should not continue to give without receiving in return, especially in couple relationships. In a couple's relationship, it's not okay to keep giving and giving and giving while receiving very little in return. When you give unconditionally and infinitely, you end up taking on the role of the partner's mother. This transforms the relationship into a parent-child dynamic, where the one who gives is seen as strong and the one who receives becomes dependent. Thus, you cease to be his partner or lover and become his mother. If you are always giving and receiving nothing in return, this behavior can make you take on the role of the mother-in-law. Essentially, the mother-in-law becomes redundant and you end up replacing her in the man's life. It is crucial to honor the parents of your partner and not to take on the role of a mother, because it is not natural to be your partner's mother. Additionally, trying to fulfill this role only leads to frustration. For example, in cases where women are betrayed by their partners, it is often observed that despite offering everything, they end up being pitied by others. They have given a lot of love and dedication, but their partners did not respond equitably. This behavior is often seen in my clients, which is why I conduct these courses and exercises, as real transformation comes from experience, not just theory. Many of these women are considered extraordinary, but the reality is that they often end up being left by their partner. It often happens that men seek another partner who allows them to feel like men, to be cared for, and to feel appreciated. Often, this occurs because the new partner is making the man feel more comfortable in his role. Reflecting on my own experience, I have noticed that in the past I gave too much and reached a point of exhaustion. I invested a lot in my relationships and felt that I was sacrificing my own self to please others. I remember doing coaching with my friends, but ultimately, those relationships exhausted themselves because, as one of my former therapists says, it is not natural to remain in the same dynamic forever. We want to learn to give and receive in a balanced way for relationships to be healthy and sustainable. I tend to give and give and give, and I understand if you find yourself in the same situation. But from my experience, I advise you to pay attention to how much you are receiving. If you want a harmonious relationship, be mindful of both what you give and what you receive. It's important to give, but also to receive in return. If you keep giving and giving without receiving, you will eventually exhaust yourself. You won't have time for yourself, for nourishing your soul, for your passions, or for connecting with friends. We women are often educated to put others' needs before our own, but it's essential to protect our energy and maintain balance in relationships. As Bert Hellinger suggests, love grows when we give a little and our partner responds in kind, giving a little bit more back. If we give a little, our partner will want to give a bit more, and so our love increases. On the other hand, if we transform into a kind of Mother Teresa who gives unconditionally but harbors resentment inside, the relationship will suffer. Arrogance and superiority hidden behind apparent altruism do not bring real benefits to the relationship. The same principles applies when someone is harming you. Bert Hellinger proposes that to counteract harm in the world, when someone does us a major wrong, we should inflict a smaller wrong in return. This does not mean revenge, but rather balancing the scales. For example, if your partner has cheated on you, it's not about inflicting physical harm, but you can ask for a fair compensation for their actions. This might mean requiring them to fulfill certain responsibilities or simply acknowledging and correcting the imbalance created. Like buying 3,000 flowers or paying for the holidays for the next 3 years. The idea is not to let the partner remain unpunished for their actions, as this can create an energetic imbalance in the relationship. At the same time, you should not position yourself as superior or become resentful. It's important to maintain a balance in the relationship and ensure that both partners contribute fairly. We balance the relationship when one person does a major wrong and I respond with a smaller wrong. Afterwards, the other person might also do something small to acknowledge that they saw the minor wrong and respond accordingly. This way, love and respect are balanced, and neither partner remains in a position of being better or worse than the other. No one remains as a saint like Mother Teresa, while the other is perceived as a negative character. The relationship balances out without creating superiority or undeserved innocence. Thank you for understanding this aspect. I'm glad the discussion is clear. The question from Judy is whether this dynamic applies to the relationship with parents. The answer is that is not the same with the parents. In the relationship with parents, it is the exact opposite. The parents give and the child always receives, and this remains valid until the end of time. It is important to understand that this principle of balance applies to romantic relationships, but not to the parent-child relationship. In the parent-child relationship, there is a different dynamic where the child receives support and resources from the parents. This principle also applies in relationships with grandparents and grandchildren within the context of the extended family. It is essential to recognize and respect these dynamics in different types of family relationships. The idea of balancing relationships and total responsibility has been so appreciated that Bert Hellinger was nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize in 2012. This approach applies not only in personal relationships, but also between nations. It is essential to practice total responsibility and self-responsibility to truly heal. The question about helping parents with money is very relevant. If you give your parents money, you are not doing anything wrong. What matters is the attitude with which you make these gestures. If you do it from a place of a child, of love and respect, without feeling obligated or expecting something in return, it is absolutely wonderful. However, if you do it from a place of superiority or with resentment, it can create problems. Yeah, regarding the question of whether it is right to finish a relationship where the partner cheats and doesn't seem genuinely regretful, well, it's important to understand that there is no universal right or wrong answer. It all depends on you and what you feel. You have free will, and any choice you make is perfect. What matters is that you feel good, that you are in harmony and at peace with your decisions. If you feel it's better to stay in the relationship, do so. If you feel it's better to leave, then leave. If you want to repair the relationship, it is possible to do so, but it may be helpful to seek the help of a couples therapist who can assist in mediating the situation. Every situation is unique, and it's important to make decisions that are best for you. Thank you also for the question and discussions. I am glad that I could help. Today, I planned to talk about the body. Note, in the next sessions, we will discuss a bit about leaves and flowers, meaning our emotions and, of course, our parts, which is my favorite subject. Now, let me explain what psychosomatics means. I believe some of you already know. It's about the connection between the mind and the body. We refer to psychosomatics when analyzing the effect of the mind on the body. This aspect is extremely important. Unfortunately, not everyone understands this concept and thinks that their suffering exists only in their mind. In fact, this is not the case, as the brain is the control center of the body. The interaction between the brain and the body is continuous and permanent, and sometimes our bodily reactions affect our mood. You have probably noticed this yourself. Everyone knows how bad the mood can become when you are sick or tired. But in turn, mood can also influence the body. There are numerous studies showing that stress significantly affects the body, including the cardiovascular, respiratory, and immune systems. There are many possible associations between the body and mind. We must not forget that what directly affects what we feel and our physical and mental reactions are actually our memories stored in the brain in a particular way, specifically those unprocessed memories. These unprocessed memories can lead to a wide range of emotional and physical sensations. They can generate an inability to form soul connections and block the expression of your feelings, such as love. Often, this leads to a sense of inner illness and numbness. There can be extreme physical reactions, such as panic attacks or anxiety, which are real sensations produced by the body in reaction to a feeling of danger. This feeling of danger remains trapped in the unprocessed memories in the brain and can be triggered by various present events. All these intense feelings and physical sensations are caused by the unprocessed memories. It is not only in the mind, as the brain sends concrete signals to the rest of the body. The brain is an integral part of the body and is the source of all bodily reactions. Therefore, conditions such as panic attacks, anxiety, and depression can represent physical reactions generated by certain memories stored in your psyche. This is why we often need to consider the physical ailments that do not heal through various methods, might not be purely medical, and could be based on unprocessed memories and deep traumas. Sensations associated with certain life experience and stored in memory can lead to pain, an inability to feel, and other unpleasant sensations and feelings. This situation frequently appears in sexual therapy, for example, where many people love their partners and wish to feel intimacy, but do not experience sexual sensations for various reasons. One of the common causes of this issue is indeed unprocessed memories from the past. Now, I want to invite you to do a guided visualization exercise, which I hope will help alleviate emotional pain and help you, at least temporarily, to transform feelings and manage physical pain more easily. This technique amplifies energy and can be applied at home anytime. Let's start. Close your eyes. Relax. Breathe deeply. And scan your body. Observe what you feel in your body. If you feel agitated, Focus on the unpleasant sensations. It could be a pain or tension. Focus on this tense area. Now, answer the following questions. If it had a shape, what would it be? If it had a size, what would it be? If it had a color, what color would it be? And if it had a temperature, how would it feel? Would it feel warm or cold? And if it had a texture, what would the texture be? If it had a sound, what kind of sound would it be? Would it be a high or low tone? Good. Now observe the shape, size, color, and texture of the symptom. Next, answer this question. What is your favorite color or the color you associate with healing? After you choose a color, imagine a luminous flow of that color entering through the top of your head. This flow of energy comes from the level of the self, so it is practically unlimited. This colored light descends towards the shape of the symptom in your body and surrounds it. What happens now to the shape, size, and color of the symptom when it is enveloped in this light? If the negative feelings transforms, continue to extend the light, applying the flow until you feel comfortable. If nothing happens, just focus on your breath and say, yes, it integrates. It's perfectly okay to have a neutral attitude. Notice how you feel now. Perhaps that tension or pain has eased or softened, being enveloped by the luminous flow. And when you feel ready, return to the present moment by opening your eyes. Bravo! You see how simple it is when you have the right techniques? It's simple and clear. When we are together, it's even simpler. So it's wonderful, and may you all be blessed, my dear ones. Look, someone says, the big gray stone has started to melt. Great! I'm glad you're feeling better. And the day is more beautiful. Someone else says, thank you, it has completely disappeared. You see? These are the kinds of techniques I'll continue to teach you, and you'll see the pain can disappear. Someone mentioned, the pain in the back of the neck is gone. That is great! Look how amazing it is. A lady says, the back pain has diminished. The gray metal stem has starting to melt. Thank you, thank you. I feel much better with each session. Awesome, thank you. I'm very happy. Good luck with everything you do, my dear ones, and see you in the next session. Kisses.